This week, we recap on Xbox's special 20th anniversary show. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Barry, and this is episode 42 of the Retro Gaming Dads podcast, the podcast for everything retro and retro-inspired. So, can you believe it? 20 years since the original Xbox got released.
Nope, I can't believe it. It's flown by. Honestly, it feels like it was only a few weeks ago I got the original Xbox. I can still remember it, but I spoke to Esther earlier in the week, and I said to her, "Oh, there's a special 20th anniversary show." And she goes, "Does that not make you feel old, it being out for 20 years?
It's like 2/3 of your life Xbox has existed.
That's very true.
The shocking thing is, though, in my mind, when the original Xbox was out, I was like, oh yeah, Mega Drive, Master System, Saturn, they're retro.
Yeah.
However, they were anywhere from like a decade to 5 years before the original Xbox came out. Now, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, the original Xbox, that's not retro yet. And it's 20 years ago that it was launched. 20 years. It's absolutely insane.
I've seen 20 years worth of games. Fantastic series that have come up from Xbox. And a lot of those series are still going on. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and there's plenty of series that need to come back as well.
Oh, yes. And then we could go through a massive list. I ain't going to get anywhere, though. We could go through a massive list.
Yeah, and that would just be the rare titles as well.
Yeah, not the unknown hidden gems.
Cast your mind back. What was your first experience of playing an Xbox or seeing an Xbox?
My first experience of even knowing about it, I had no idea about it until one day my dad walked in with the Xbox and some games. And I'm like, what is this? What we brought home? And as you do as a kid, not know what your dad brings home. What is it? Like bugging him as he's setting up, trying to connect it all together. And obviously it's a console. I'm like, okay, I want to play it. So he connects it in, and I'm pretty certain my first experience that I can remember in my head is Unreal Tournament. I remember playing Unreal Tournament. Absolutely loved playing that game. I can't really think of many else I played on the Xbox, if I'm honest, because if I'm truly honest with you here, I was 11 and a half years old when it came out, over in the UK at least. So in the UK, we got it for the 14th of March, and I think we got it just after that. I don't even know how my dad knew about it. All I know is he walked in with this Xbox, so I might actually have to speak with him at some point and find out how it came to be with him.
Can I just say, be careful how quick you are speaking, because it really did sound like you just said the sex box.
Oh, sorry.
That's a completely different podcast than this one.
That's for later on.
I was aware of the Xbox just before it was getting launched, so I had a Dreamcast, and it was evident that the Dreamcast was going to die soon. Sega had already come out, and they'd already said they were no longer going to produce the console, and games were drying up, a lot of them were getting cancelled. So I actually decided to jump ship to the GameCube. So I thought, because they had a lot of games that I never really got to play, like the Mario titles, and Xbox did not interest me whatsoever. That was until me and Phil went round to a mutual friend's house, and in the corner of his room, there it was, Xbox, this hulking, ugly, horrible, massive plastic monolith with these giant controllers. And he was like, "Do you want to have a go on it?" I was like, "Not really, it looks awful." It's like, "No, have a go, I've got Halo." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, what's that?" And he goes, "Oh, you like this spaceman, you run around shooting aliens?" I thought, oh my god, that sounds like the most generic game ever. Anyway, we played it, and it was the second stage that me and Phil played.
Oh, when you're on the ring and
where you actually crash onto a Halo. Played that, completed that stage, and literally, as soon as we left his, we went straight into local town centre, bought an Xbox and the cheapest third-party controller for Phil to use.
Oh, and so you honestly, bought the Xbox?
Yeah, just bought the Xbox and Halo and a second controller. And I think Phil actually did buy Dead or Alive, if I remember right. But at this moment, he didn't actually have an Xbox.
Got you.
To be honest, never really looked back. as most people know, I tend to get Xbox and Nintendo consoles. Tend to get Sony consoles, but usually I'm a generation or so behind on that. So many great memories from that original Xbox.
Oh, honestly, I think one of my fondest memories about anything to do with the original Xbox was LAN parties.
Oh yeah, well, just really quickly, we both touched on this before in the podcast, and I'm pretty certain it's the same story you're about to tell. But I ended up buying a second Xbox, and at one point I had 2 Xboxes and 3 copies of Halo.
Yep.
For doing LAN games at home. Used to be me and
Yes.
Phil on one Xbox, and my brother and 3 of his mates in another room on the second Xbox.
Yeah, again, it used to be whenever me and my brother had it was our birthdays and we decided to have a party, so we'd have people around, and my dad would bring in another TV and he would connect them all in the dining room, and would all be sat in the right dining room at different parts, just playing a LAN game across the room. Absolutely loved it.
And for anyone who's vaguely young listening to this podcast, moving a TV from one room to another was no small feat back in like 2002.
No, these TVs were. How can you really describe the size of it to someone who doesn't really know?
Fucking heavy. That's how I describe them.
Yeah, they were. They were flipping heavy. They had a arse in them like no tomorrow. Just
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
honestly, it was absolutely ridiculous thing to move. I can't even think of a comparison of a size.
Yeah, this is when a flat screen just meant that the glass on the front didn't curve.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like TVs now where I've got a 65-inch TV downstairs that I can easily lift up. These days, 14-inch TV, you go get a hernia moving that around too much.
Yeah, you would do. Nowadays, most TVs are mounted on the wall. Back then, forget it. Don't even attempt it.
Mine was mounted on the wall, and I always worried. It was only a 14-inch TV, and I always worried that it would just go rip out part of the bricks and fall on my head or something.
Yeah, but can you imagine putting like a 30-inch onto the wall?
No, that was just at all. That just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no chance. So it was not an easy thing to do, and not to mention the heat that the TVs and the Xboxes would all kick out whilst you're in there as well. You got pretty warm pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty.
And LAN games didn't always work. Sometimes things would, it's when you've got more than 2 connected. It would take a bit of time fiddling, getting all working together.
Oh yeah, but make sure you get the right type of Ethernet cable as well.
Yes, but when it worked, absolutely fantastic, and so many memories made.
Yeah, I have so many memories. Blood Gulch and Sidewinder, just going around in the Scorpion tank, just wrecking anyone stupid enough to get between me and the Prophet. Oh no, hang on, wrong game.
I was about to say, it's like Prophet.
I thought it was fantastic, and plenty of other great games on the console as well.
Oh, 100%. The amount of games that Microsoft pumped out when they then brought out the Xbox.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought they were a brand new console coming out.
Yeah. Makes a bit of a difference from the launch of the Series X, although this next year and next couple of months even are definitely going to make up for this last year. But Microsoft were just straight out the door with so many great games. And not even
you just stop them
first party. Yeah. I remember playing Fable. There was so many great Sega games. Jet Set Radio Future, absolutely amazing. That needs to come back in one way or another.
Yes.
And
they are releasing something that's like a spiritual successor, aren't they?
To Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
There's a spiritual successor. Cyberbomb Funkatron. I can't remember.
But you do skate around in like a cyberpunk sort of.
Yes, yeah. I know it's got the word cyber and bomb in it. I just can't quite remember what it is off the top of my head. Other than the actual mammoth size of the console and the controllers, thankfully I managed to get the one with the S controller. Just the graphics, the absolute quality of the graphics. The PlayStation 2, which is still relatively new at the time, paled in comparison with these games on the Xbox.
The impact that Microsoft brought into the gaming community was instrumental. It was literally just dropped a rock into a pond and it's just created a massive wave, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
They came in, and that was it. And they just took it by storm. Other than the launch, or the original Xbox proper reveal with The Rock, which that wasn't exactly a smooth,
That was early 2000s cringe.
Yeah.
I think anyone's launch was pretty much like that. One thing we haven't even talked about, though, is the launch of Xbox Live. How that has absolutely changed console gaming since.
You thought, console gaming back then couldn't have got better, because back then you didn't really think about Xbox Live, did you? You were happy with the way you were playing.
I was playing games, quite a few games online with the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah. Microsoft, when they launched Xbox Live, that was our game changer. Absolutely changed gaming. I remember playing over a tournament, and then when it went to Xbox Live, I was like, what the heck? You go online, you're fighting against other people, and you didn't have to pick up your skills. You're like, oh, shoot, hang on a second. That's people better than me. You would have bad games, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you could talk to other people in different parts of the world as well.
Yeah, I remember me and Phil went out and we got the packs that you used to get where it had the headset, a year's worth of Xbox Live, and you got like 2 demo games. I think it was Midtown Madness multiplayer and Mech Assault multiplayer, I think it was.
Midtown Madness was a great game. I don't remember Mech Assault.
Mech Assault was great online. An arcadey mech sim, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got it. We went back to Phil's because he had proper internet, not the dial-up internet that I still had at this point, and set up our accounts, got online, and we were playing online. And like, one of the weird things was everyone was American. So every game we went in, they were like, "Oh, where are you from?" You're like, "From the UK." And they go, "Whoa, you got in there in the UK? Wow, how'd you get an Xbox? Did you come to the US?" And you're like, "No, just went to Dixon's around the corner." But just playing online with headset, real time, talking to people, it was just amazing. And even better was the fact that both of us could be playing in split screen on the same console online. And honestly, I say I played a lot of games online on the Dreamcast, but it was just so far elevated over what the Dreamcast was doing. And what the Dreamcast was doing was groundbreaking as well.
Well, looking at it, could you have thought of any other gaming company being able to produce what Xbox produced?
No. Sony had more online offerings than Nintendo. Off the top of my head, I can only think of 2 titles on the GameCube that were online. PSO Episode 1 and 2 and PSO Episode 3 card.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain there was actually at least one more title, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Looking back at the gaming industry since Xbox, Microsoft basically been a groundbreaker in it. They've brought so much into it that you couldn't even imagine at all.
I still believe now, even now, in the console space, out of the 3 big players that we've got, Microsoft are far ahead of them in terms of online infrastructure and the service they provide.
Yes.
Now, they're also probably the most expensive, so there is that to bear in mind.
But you pay for what you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Admittedly, paying to play online, maybe not the best value, but with Game Pass, and I know we bang on about this every single time we do a podcast, somehow we manage to mention it. But for, what is it, $11.99 a month?
Yeah, you get like 200 games free.
Oh, yeah. If you've got a PC and an Xbox, the value is just insane. It's absolutely insane for it.
But that's not only that. You're streaming with your phone wherever you are. You've not just got Game Pass on your console and your computer.
You've got it everywhere.
Is now. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, you know when it's on iOS. Even it is literally everywhere at that point. Even recently, I've been playing 95% of my console gaming has been through Xbox Cloud. Yes. I completed the entirety of Rift Breaker, and what did it work out? I played it for like 74 hours.
72 hours?
Yeah, so over 70 hours, 100% of the game, and the entirety of it was on Xbox Cloud streaming or whatever they call it. Everyone still calls it xCloud. Why don't they just rename it back to that?
Don't know.
Make it so much easier.
Before we get too far ahead, since the 15th of November 2002, where Xbox Live's come to now, it's amazing. I myself actually still have my original account and my original gamer tag as well from then.
Oh, see, so is Phil, and it always annoys me that it's 10 years higher than mine now. I unfortunately just could not transfer my original Xbox Live account to the 360, so I had to make a new account.
That's horrible.
And I'm devastated.
That's horrible. I'm sorry for the pain, for the loss. I'll tell you.
Although, one thing that I'm not sure if I miss on Kind Glad that they've got rid of. Do you remember that you could change your voice, so you could change it to sound like a chipmunk or Darth Vader or a robot? Do you ever remember that in games?
I don't remember that at all.
No, right, yeah. So you used to be able to put like filters onto your voice, and it was a little bit creepy, especially playing Phantasy Star Online, when people were running around with like little sailor suit kind of magic users, and you could tell it was probably like a 40-year-old guy, but you'd put a filter on to make it sound like a little girl. You're like, oh, okay.
Creep, please leave me alone.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that's gone, but at the same time, on a lot of games like Phantasy Star Online, people, I think they used it to get a bit more into
the role
to
playing,
actually role play within the game as well. And all of this was just on the original Xbox.
Yeah, let alone when the 360 came out.
Yeah.
And made it so much different. But before we jump onto the 360, the original Xbox, what's your favorite game on it, and what's your favorite memory on it?
Favorite game and memory on the original Xbox or the Xbox 360?
The original, before we go to 360.
The original. I think my favorite memory is still going to be the original Halo. Just messing around on that. It's so much fun with LAN games and doing the whole campaign in split screen. Halo 2 was a fantastic game. I think I just remember Halo a lot more fondly, though.
Yeah.
Go on, what's yours then?
For me, again, was the original Halo. Like you said, done on split screen. I played through that game with my brother time again. So, the amount of time I was playing this game with my brother, created a good bond, a lot of memories with him. But my favourite memory was when I was playing with my dad once. And we were sat in the bunk bed, and obviously his head's right next to the bunk bed, and Elite jumps out around the corner and scares him. And he goes, Elite, puts his head back, and cracks the back of his head on the bunk bed above. So he jumps back, smacks it, and just goes, laying it down, holding his head. After he whacked it so hard because it was metal bunk bed, the whole thing sort of like echoed. As he hit it, I was like, oh. So
I must admit, actually, just while you reminded me, my dad actually did get quite into playing Burnout 2.
Okay.
And there's nothing better than right at the end just nudging me dad into an oncoming, like, articulated lorry just as you're going on the final straight. But my dad's definitely not a gamer.
Did he rage quit? Sort of thing?
He didn't rage quit, but we had two little steering wheels with that.
All right.
Like only cheap ones, like GameWare ones or something.
Still.
But no, I don't think my dad's actually played a video game since then. Not including Flappy Bird. I refuse to include Flappy Bird. My dad's one of those who sits on an aeroplane with playing Flappy Bird on his phone with the volume turned up.
Oh.
He's a terrible human being sometimes.
But kick him off the plane.
Yeah, mid-flight. We're moving along now. I can't remember the US release, but December the 2nd, 2005 was when the Xbox 360 was launched. I think it was 22nd of November. Do you know what? I actually wrote this down. Yeah, 22nd November it originally launched. We got it just over 2 weeks later, so not as bad as the original Xbox. And I only remember this date because that's Phil's birthday.
Yes. I do remember you saying.
I remember getting the Xbox, the Premium Hack, I think it was called, with the 20 gig hard drive.
Yeah.
That's one thing we completely glossed over on the original Xbox. The inclusion of a hard drive with every single console. No other console had a hard drive. You know, your PlayStation 2 had, what was it?
Memory card. Well,
64 megabyte memory cards, I think, were the largest ones. The GameCube were like 4 megabytes. And then the Xbox coming with 8 gig hard drive.
Yeah, so not having to worry about your saves at all.
No,
It's
no.
all just built in. I mean, if your console died, you're screwed. But otherwise, it's fine.
Well, no, you could still put memory cards into the controllers.
Yeah. Yes, you could.
On top of that as well, you could rip your CDs and have custom game soundtracks as well, which me and Phil did quite a lot with
Burnout games.
Burnout 2.
I remember doing that as well.
Yeah.
Actually, that was, a massive game changer. Because after that, every other gaming company did the same thing, didn't they?
Even since then, no other console has done custom soundtracks as well.
No.
You can't just go and rip your soundtrack, your CD onto, say, an Xbox Series X and have your own custom soundtrack in a game. Not the way it was done on the original Xbox. You might be able to have it play over the top.
There's some games you can. There's some games you could put Spotify on and you can get it come out the car radio and that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work as well.
And that's only on the game. And there's some games like Forza Horizon 3, I think it was, which had Zoom Music or whatever it was called at the time.
Yes.
But that service shut down not long afterwards. So now that feature's gone. On the original Xbox, I can still go back, play Burnout, and still listening to, me early 2000s Eminem CD or wherever has still got ripped on my Xbox.
Offspring at all?
Oh yeah, Offspring are definitely on there. That's a given.
But like I said, the 360 came with a hard drive, but the 360 was actually a removable hard drive as well.
Yes.
So, you went around to a friend's house, you could just take, if you really wanted to, take a hard drive with you. Or you could actually just use a flash drive. There's a normal flash drive, you could use that as well.
Not on launch, you couldn't.
Could you not?
No, I want to say that was a good, 4 or 5 years after the launch of the system that you could actually
So I remember
use
having
flash
my
drives.
account on a flash drive, because we used to have, in my house, we got 1 or 2 360s the Christmas after it was released, and I think in total we had 5 in the house.
Yeah, at one point we had about 3.
Yeah.
So again, me and Kerry, we had a pen drive each, so we could move between consoles. Like we had one in the living room, one upstairs,
See,
one
we
in the front
had
bedroom.
a Halo Reach S, and then we also had a Gears of Wars S as well. Also, you could change the faceplates on them. So you could buy a new faceplate and change the faceplate on the 360, which we did that as well. We got some different faceplates and changed them.
Yeah, I think
that was a lot of fun.
I think I got one which was. Do you remember the livery that they had where it was loads of green circles?
Yes.
Different color green circles. I've got a faceplate like that. I think I got that as a bonus for pre-ordering, if I remember right.
Okay.
So what were the first games that you got then?
Oh my days.
Sorry, did you get your 360 on launch, or was it a bit later on?
I'm pretty certain I did get it on launch, or I think we got it for Christmas. So we would have got it, but my dad would have made us wait till Christmas, which is understandable. Yeah. I understand it, but it would have made me wait. I can't really remember. My memory is actually really, really bad. So I'm trying to think back. I can't think of what games I got on launch, and I can tell you now, the amount of games I had though was ridiculous for the 360. I've seen your games, and you've got 2 massive cratefuls.
Oh, 2? Come on, I've still got over 200 titles.
Flippin' heck.
And I got rid of quite a few of them.
See, we purged ours every now and then, but I remember having the game racks.
Yeah, the little horrible plastic things where you could put maybe 20 games in it.
I remember having 4 of them full, plus others stacked around them as well, trying to fit them on any way I can do.
Oh yeah, do not put 21 titles onto one of those; they'll just collapse. You just can't take it. No, the first games I got on day of release was Condemned Criminal Origins, I think it was called, which was a first-person, not quite a first-person shooter. It was a combat game, but you would go in and you would look for clues in a crime scene. And seeing that in HD, I just got a HD telly just before this. It wasn't really a HD telly. It was more of a monitor with speakers, and I was just stunned at the graphics on Condemned. The lighting effects, just everything, just amazing. I also picked up Perfect Dark.
Yep.
Which was okay, but in comparison, all the characters, they all looked very shiny, very plasticky.
It was Perfect Dark Zero, that one, wasn't it?
Perfect Dark Zero, yes.
Yeah, I remember having that on day release, sorry. Perfect Dark Zero was one I definitely had day release.
They were the 2 games I got.
To me, though, one of the biggest things, which was a massive improvement when you first turned the console on, was the dashboard and how different that was. You had a dashboard where you had different tabs to go through, and you could get into the Microsoft Store, because the store was there as well, wasn't it, at that time?
Yes.
So you could then
you couldn't buy full games at the time, though.
No, you couldn't.
They had Xbox Live Arcade, which was smaller titles.
Yes.
The dashboard as well was this unified interface that you could actually bring up at any point by hitting the Xbox button on your controller.
Yeah, so you could bring the guide up, and then that was it. And you could then go through. Was parties released on the same day? Xbox Live parties.
So you could go through, you could invite someone to a party, you could even jump out of the game, or you could look at your achievements that you've got.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the introduction of achievements, that got introduced to the 360.
Yes, something which I'm still chasing now. I must admit, it actually got so bad that at one point it was like, I don't really want to play this game on the Switch because I don't get achievements.
What do you mean? At one point, you like that now?
Well, yeah.
You're going,
that one point just hasn't finished yet.
Yeah. you look at a game, you go, is it on the Xbox? Yeah, I'll play on and get achievements.
Yeah, I actually do buy quite a few games on the Xbox that are multi-platform. Like, I'd love to buy this game, take it on the Switch, play it in bed, play it traveling. But I'll get it on the Xbox because it's got achievements.
If it's on Game Pass, though, you can do it whatever you want.
Well, yeah, I can
You
now.
could buy it on the Switch and then just use your phone.
I just need this Steam Deck to actually hurry up and come out because that's been delayed, hasn't it? And that way I can just stream across to it.
The 360 again was a leap. It wasn't just bringing your consoles anyway. The difference it made again.
The first true HD console.
Yes.
Although in all fairness, the original Xbox could actually do up to 1080i.
Microsoft has pulled it the bag time and time again. I just feel like they get overlooked sometimes.
Absolutely. The original Xbox, I feel, is one of the most underrated consoles.
It's definitely underrated.
Absolutely. The 360, Microsoft just got off to an amazing start. For most of that generation, even Sony was trailing behind them. I think they did just pip them right at the very end of the generation. But Xbox 360 seemed like it could do nothing wrong. And a lot of multi-platform titles, especially Fallout 3 is the one I remember most, looked and played much better on the Xbox 360 compared to the PlayStation 3. Plus you got Chivos.
Yes. Can't say no to achievements. If I'm completely honest, it wasn't until the 360 where I got into RPGs.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them now. I absolutely love RPGs. Because it's Fable 2, wasn't it? So Fable 2 was on 360.
Fable 2 and 3.
Also
Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, 13-3.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Final Fantasy. It wasn't Final Fantasy Online. What was it? Was it Online 2?
Final Fantasy 11.
Phantasy Star, sorry. Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh, Phantasy Star Universe was, yeah.
Phantasy Star Universe is what got me into that sort of game.
Final Fantasy 11, I think it was, the online one. That was on the Xbox 360, and I actually got that and started playing it and stopped because there was no achievements. It's one of the very few Xbox games that has no achievements at all.
Why? What's the point of having a game on the Xbox with no Chivos?
Exactly. What's the point of having a game in general without achievements?
Yeah. Well, it just gives you... That's the thing. I feel like Nintendo's missing out because it gives you a sense of like, yes, I got myself an achievement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or, bloody hell, I spent 72 hours trying to complete this game just to get 100% achievements.
As long as you had fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I remember having a little wireless headset. Like the...
The blue... sorry, yeah, I know which one you mean. The actual Microsoft one.
Yes, the actual Microsoft one.
Yeah, I had one of them.
Headset.
Felt like it was in the future. I actually had the second generation of that, which was also Bluetooth. So if someone rang you, you could just press the button and it'd flick across to your phone and you could answer the call.
Oh, that's cool.
It was significantly smaller as well.
Believe it or not, Viva Pinata. I love that game as well.
I must admit, that was a fantastic looking game. Oddly enough, my brother really got into that as well.
Really?
Yeah, I remember him coming back from touring Afghanistan and just played that for like a week.
I remember also the camera. You then had the
Yes.
little camera as well, playing Burnout, and as you got wrecked and everything else, you could take photos of your face you got wrecked, and then put a picture above your car.
I got that camera for one reason only.
Rainbow Six.
Exactly, yeah. And I'll admit, my character looked uncannily like me in Rainbow Six. Every time I got up against a wall and it went to third person, I was like, that looks like me. I've just been shot in the face. This looks amazing.
I've got hot on my face, but it's fine. It looks like me.
The half of the face that's still attached to my body looks just like me.
Again, all the specific accessories that got brought in. Not only that, flipping Guitar Hero or
Rock Band.
Rock Band or Guitar Hero World Tour. That was it. Where you had the guitar, you had the drums, you had the microphone, and that sort of thing. Fantastic games. Where are they? Give me one where I can have a drum kit and I'll play along.
I've still got all that tat in the loft, and unfortunately, that's tat that'll be carting around with me the rest of my life now. Kind of wish I didn't get it, to be honest. It takes up so much room.
My brother pilfered my Guitar Hero World Tour stuff, so I don't have it. It's all at his house.
Right. Yeah, I've got World Tour. No, sorry, I've got Lego Rock Band.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero 3, I think it is, and Rock Band. And I've got like one guitar, and then I've got the big set. I was rubbish at the game. I only got it because it was cheap at like Class Olsen.
But not that though. You also got Kinect as well with 360.
Oh my god! No, I'm not even on about Kinect. How did I forget about talking about Steel Battalion while we're talking about accessories? Oh, I still need to get that back for the Xbox. I can't believe I got rid of that.
Well, we spoke about that over and over and over again. I'm sure people who still listen to podcasting have heard that, but like, not again, come on.
Go back and listen to episode 20 and 21. They're our top 20 Xbox games for its 20th anniversary. Yeah, go back to the Kinect. That was very much a gimmick.
It was a gimmick, but I did enjoy it.
Fun for a few months that I used it.
We used it quite a bit, and I thought it was great. It did work all right, shall I say? But it
was adequate if you had enough room.
Yes, that's the thing. You had to have room.
I did actually use it for a couple. I think I had like a night game. I think it was, and it was that was quite good. That actually linked to I think it was called a fuel band, and it gives you a fuel score.
Okay.
And it linked in with the game, so you could get extra points for when you were doing your exercises and that. And that was quite good. Unfortunately, going back to Steel Battalion again, they went from having this basically a cockpit in a box to, let's use Kinect, and it just did not work. Every time you're playing and you itch your nose or reach over to get a drink or something, your character's popping the head out the top of the mech or pulling a random lever, self-destruct or something stupid. It was terrible. I think I only got 2 stages into it, and I was just like, no, this.
I remember there was one game where you could actually play with a controller, and if you wanted to have a response, you could actually use your hand quickly to then just do different controls.
Well, Steel Battalion was a bit like that.
Yeah.
That you would use the controller to move the vehicle that you were in, but say if you wanted to zoom in, you had to reach up and pull down a periscope to look at it.
Okay.
It didn't work. It was awful. One game that actually used it in a really subtle way, though, was Forza Motorsports 4 or 5, I think it was, where as you're racing, if you just tilted your head slightly, your character's head would look left and right, so you could look in your wing mirrors to see what's coming up behind you. That was a pretty cool way to use it.
I only ever drive cars in first and third person, though, so...
All right. Actually, in all fairness, so do I. I only actually used to do it that so I could test the Kinect.
To me, though, Mass Effect. I absolutely love Mass Effect. The Mass Effect series, absolutely amazing. I know it did go a bit downhill with 3 and Andromeda, but I still enjoyed it. It's still a fantastic series. But I remember in Mass Effect, you could actually use the microphone to issue commands to different people.
Yeah.
So you could actually speak with the microphone, and same with Rainbow Six as well. You could use your microphone to then issue commands. And that was another cool little feature they put in, which don't get me wrong, I only use it a few times because sometimes they shout at them saying, do this, do that, and they ignore you. But it was a cool little feature that I put into it as well. And that's the thing, a lot of these features people might not know about, people might not have known, unless you really had the games or you actually did sort of pay attention that you could use these little gimmicks. But
well, yeah, again, like the camera in Rainbow Six, they're all little things which make the actual experience better. They're not essential to it. Like,
no, fantastic. Just talk about these and just think about these games that played and the different memories and the experiences. Absolutely amazing.
Well, the generation that the Xbox 360 was in seemed like it just went on forever.
Yes.
Do you find that it seemed like between the Xbox 360 launching and the Xbox One launching, it just seemed like that generation just carried on forever?
Well, that was 8 years.
Yes.
8 years, that is a long time.
Well, the worrying thing is it's only 1 year more than it was from the Xbox One to the Xbox Series X.
No, I know. And that did surprise me when I looked at that.
And that I was like, oh, we're getting PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X already. Oh, that generation was short. Oh, it was 7 years.
Also, I felt like, again, the amount of games that were available for that. One, I'm going to bring up, and I bring up all the time, Chrome Hounds.
Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, Chrome Hounds, how we miss you.
Just dead inside. I still have my copy.
I've still got my copy. It's useless.
Absolutely amazing game, and if you've never played it, I feel sorry for you. It's the way I've got to put it.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing game. It will always hold a place in my heart because of the most random crap you could pull on that game and how much fun you can have as well. You know, be able to customize the mech completely, and it works so well. I just love the game. Also, I really like Too Human. Not a lot of people did, but I like Too Human as well.
I must admit I didn't like it.
I did.
But there's so many other great games on there.
There is.
Again, continuation of the Halo franchise. Gears of War
Yes.
started on there, and that's still going now. Again, just the change in fidelity between the Xbox 360. I remember playing on the original Xbox. It was like, oh, games will never get better than this. It looks almost real. And just to step into HD, it was amazing. But even on the tail end, the Xbox 360 was supported so well, even once the Xbox One came out. And they done it in quite a seamless way. Yeah. I remember playing, when I got my Xbox One, I set that up in the bedroom and I moved my Xbox 360 into the living room. If I wanted to play, say, Destiny, I could actually hop on the Xbox 360 in the living room, play it for a bit there, then go up to the Xbox One, log in, and continue from the same point on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And it got plenty of other games as well. Forza Horizon was on both systems. You had most of the Call of Duties for a couple of years, although Black Ops 3 was heavily cut down over the Xbox One version. And it was just really well supported.
To me, though, if I was to quickly, just before we move on to the Xbox One, favourite game, to me, was Halo 3 Forge. Some of the memories I had in Halo 3 Forge, absolutely amazing. To me, Forge is still about on Halo, but to me, I don't think it'll ever be anywhere near as good as it was in Halo 3.
I think I preferred Halo Reach over Halo 3. Halo Reach is
I can see why
still one of the best looking games, full stop. Not just on the 360, just in general. The art direction in it is fantastic. In terms of favourite game on the 360, though, I don't know. I'm still playing 360 games to this day.
Yeah, what game have we been playing quite a lot? Where you have to fight all the aliens that invaded the Earth.
EDF.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. How many times do we jump back on that?
We play on that quite regularly.
Yeah, we do.
You come round, we play Guardian Heroes.
Yep.
That's a 360 title.
You never know what's going on, but it's a good game.
I know, but it's still fun. Last time we came around, we were playing Phantom Breaker, I think it was called.
Yes.
That was a 360 title as well.
Another game, again, sorry to still go back to it, Shadowrun. I absolutely love Shadowrun on 360.
Not long ago, we played Castlevania Symphony and Night. There's quite a good multiplayer Castlevania game called Harmony of Dissidence, I think.
I don't know, unfortunately.
I know it's just referred to as Castlevania HD, but sometimes I get them mixed up with the Game Boy and the DS titles as well.
But honestly, we could talk about some of these consoles on and on and on.
And hats off to Microsoft as well. They're still supporting Xbox Live on the 360. So these titles, you can still play online, and you can play online with someone running it originally on an Xbox 360. Someone's got it on backwards compatibility with Xbox One. Someone's using the digital version on Xbox Series X.
You can't even join party with them as well.
Yeah, you can join party because when you go into the game, you get truncated version of the original dashboard where you can invite them to parties and that. So if they are on an Xbox 360, you can still communicate with them as well.
So the Xbox One, that came out on 22nd of November.
Yeah, so this was 2013.
Yeah.
This is where Microsoft definitely lost the way. And I feel like even to today, they've made absolute leaps and bounds of progress. But I still think they're still struggling with what happened with the launch of the Xbox One.
Oh, what? You told me people didn't want TV?
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
TV experience. TV. TV in movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. 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 Watch TV. TV. TV and TV remote. TV experience. TV. 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 Sports TV. TV. TV.
Yeah.
I know it was upsetting. Don't get me wrong, the console's still great. Thinking back to it now, though, from going from the 360 to the Xbox One, I was not as impressed as I was going from the 1 to 360 at all. I don't think it's even half as much impressed.
Yeah. I felt like the games, especially those early games, like I'll go back to Destiny, because that was a game I was playing on both systems.
Yeah.
The main difference was the resolution and the quality of effects. But the fact that the Xbox 360, at this point an 8-year-old console, was still bringing this very next-gen experience was a credit to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 as well. But as you say, it wasn't as big of a generational leap which we'd previously got. Although I would argue that we're at the point now of diminishing returns. You know, it's not like it was in the 90s where each generational leap was a massive, massive improvement on the previous one. A lot of these improvements are still massive, but they're not as noticeable.
Well, that's the thing. We're getting to a point where, if you think about it graphically wise, where can we go graphically wise? Hardware, we could be different hardware, but all we're trying to make is faster loading times. But loading times are pretty fast now anyway. It's not. We're going to struggle finding other things to improve that's going to make a massive difference.
Yes. The launch of the Xbox One, it wasn't great. And there was a lot of things that was promised with the Xbox One which either never came to fruition, or features that were there originally that they've now scrapped completely. Do you ever remember Snap, where you could snap your game on one side and say Skype on the other?
Yes.
That's gone. That was a cool little feature, but it's gone.
Like we said, the launch for the Xbox One wasn't great. And they are trying to fix that, because they did try to sell the Xbox as a home entertainment console, which that's not what Xbox has ever been. It had a pass-through for, Skybox into it, had a HDMI in and out.
Yeah, so you could put your satellite or cable box into the back.
Yeah.
I think I have used it, but only to see what it was like.
I saw it and thought, I can't bother that, just plug it straight to TV.
For a while as well, I did actually use my Xbox, my Freeview box. Used to be able to get like a little USB adapter you plugged into the back.
Okay.
But again, it wasn't its primary focus. I bought an Xbox not to be a digital receiver for television. I bought it to play video games on.
Yeah. One thing we haven't mentioned before, we have mentioned, we didn't mention the 360, but the controllers though.
Yes.
Controllers are absolutely amazing. The amount of awards they've won for them and that as well.
Xbox One nailed the controller. Up until that point, the best controller you could get was the Xbox 360.
I was about to say,
in my opinion. And in a lot of critics' opinions as well.
Yes. Well, they won countless of
Yeah.
awards for them, haven't they?
And to think that they started off originally with the Duke controller.
What
You
size
know,
of your
they
face?
very quickly swapped that out for the S controller, which I think was originally for the Japanese launch.
What was it?
Yeah, just because
They got
for
small
some
hands.
reason people don't like holding a controller that's probably bigger than most people's pet.
Yes.
Thankfully, that came over to the West. And by the time I got the Xbox, it was an option that you could get it with it as well.
My brother liked the bigger controller, whereas I didn't.
No, I just don't like. Even the analog sticks, if I remember right, one of them's concave and one of them's convexed. So it I don't know. It just didn't feel nice.
But then look at the controllers now. Xbox controllers. They use them in the army for controlling drones and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the Xbox 360 controller was used because the thing is, it's a form factor a lot of people are used to.
Yes, and it's absolutely amazing. Xbox One and Xbox Series. Don't get me wrong, it's been fantastic. Absolutely do enjoy it. It has, like you said, been rocky. And the start of the Xbox One wasn't great. However, there's one person who has fixed so much of it. Isn't there, Phil? Sorry, isn't there, Barry?
Or Lord and Savior, Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Without him, I reckon that it would have just gone really wrong.
Yeah. I'm sure Don Matrick is a very savvy businessman, but he did not seem to be a gamer. He did not seem to understand what people were wanting and expecting from the Xbox. It was great that they announced a Halo TV show. Everyone wanted that, but they did not want that at the expense of games.
No.
And let's face it, we only just saw our very first peek at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all it was is someone putting the suit on, weren't it?
Yeah, someone put a suit on, seeing the 117 on the chest, and that's it. And you're like,
yeah, that's all we've seen since 2013.
Yeah. But there's been so many fantastic games which have had cinematics, have had different things. They've shot quite a few live action different cinematics, haven't they?
Well, yeah, there was Forward Unto Dawn for Halo 4's launch.
Yes, but I think for Halo 3, wasn't there a scene where there was Marines fighting brutes and that?
Oh yeah, that's the Landfall, I think it's called, where the tracking where Master Chief's score on land. Yeah, they have done a lot of stuff like that.
They have.
And for Halo 5 as well, there was that miniseries, Nightfall, was it called? Which followed Agent Locke.
I just saw a bit of it, didn't really watch it, unfortunately.
I've got that on Blu-ray.
All right.
I've got it on Blu-ray, and if you got Halo 5, I think you can actually watch it through.
I think so.
Through Halo 5.
Halo Waypoint?
Waypoint, that was it, yeah.
Yeah. It has been a long time, but we're finally getting somewhere with it. And we got the teaser. Talking about the current series, talking about the one and the series, yes, it's been fantastic. Yes, it's been great. There's not been as many hard-hitting and memorable moments, I feel, as such before. There's been some amazing games which I absolutely love and I would never give it up now.
Yeah.
I just don't, it's not had the same impact to me as before. I've loved them. I actually do love playing it. But, it's not, give me a sense of awe as the other ones did. Maybe because I'm just stuck with playing with you now.
In all fairness, I'd probably say, as the generations have gone on, not including the most current generation, Xbox One has been my favorite generation out of all the Xbox consoles.
Yes.
Not because it was the most successful, but because, especially the second half of its life, it's getting so much right. The fact that I can boot up my Xbox One and play games from the original Xbox, selected games, not every game, from the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, and the Xbox One. And as of now, I can even play some Series X games on my Xbox One. I can play next generation titles on the previous generation through the Xbox cloud streaming.
Yeah, cloud streaming's just come out and it's like, hang on a second. It's Microsoft are still such an innovator with gaming.
Yeah.
You know, they're still pushing the boundaries, and that's what Phil wants to do, and that's what he's always said. He's always said that they are pushing the boundaries. They are looking for the next thing, and he is delivering. My only concern is when, unfortunately, Phil does step down, the next person needs to be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I think they've seen the difference between Don Matrick and Phil Spencer. They definitely know which direction they need to go when they're hiring
having a
someone
gamer leader who knows what, because he speaks about how he does play games in just all his downtime.
Not only that, though, he's not like, oh, yeah, in my downtime, I'm playing Forza, Halo, Gears of War. He's not saying, oh, I absolutely love this brand new Animal Crossing, or congratulations to Sony on the launch of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
He is, I know it's Sony's tagline, but he is for the gamers, and he has a duty to Microsoft to push Microsoft forward, but that's not going to be at the detriment of Sony, Nintendo, even Steam. He put a tweet out of how good the Steam Deck is.
Yeah, he's there to.
I'm just jealous he's got
unify gaming. Yeah,
exactly. He was pushing for, pushing for crossplay.
He's, as much as I did say, there's not much there that's brought it to me, but he has, like you said, brought in crossplay, so you can crossplay with a lot of other platforms. He's trying to get Xbox on all devices. You've got an Android, you've now got an iOS. Going to iOS, who'd imagine that? You can play cloud streaming on so many devices. It's all coming together, which is what he wants. He wants to create a unified platform, which he's doing, and he's not disappointing fans and people at all.
No.
And going with that, obviously we've just had the 20th anniversary show. Now that went through, and it did speak about a lot of things. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like, oh, it is announced all this, but they did come out with some surprise announcements, which everyone's really hyped about. And are we going to go with the first one we have?
I don't know which one you're classing as the first one. Are you on about the trailer we've already mentioned?
I'll let you take your pick.
They're doing the mini-series, aren't they? The documentary about the history of Xbox. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm not super excited about it, but I think if you're quite maybe a bit geeky like I am, it's something that might be interesting to look back. A lot of geeky, nerdy Xbox fans all know, it originally started off as a side project. Its name came from being called the Direct Xbox. I don't know. I reckon that'll be quite interesting to watch.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. Really getting into a lot of history, really exploring it. They speak to the original creators. They speak to the original people who are all involved with it. And they even said they speak about the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah. Oh, how did we miss that on the?
I was thinking, how do I link it in? But then we moved on. I was like, I'll come back to it later.
Oh yeah, that cost them billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I remember working in a retail store at the time, and it felt like 50% of consoles we sold came back faulty.
I remember all the thing of unplug it, wrap it in a towel, and wait for it to all these different things.
Yeah, try and make it heat up so much the solder would reflow and bend back into shape. I'm looking at my original Xbox I've still got, and as far as I'm aware, it still works. Last time I used it, it did. I never got the red ring on that one.
But I am really looking forward to the documentary, and I think they said it's going to be on just about most major video platforming. So it should be like Netflix and that, which I'm quite excited to watch.
I've got a feeling that wasn't the announcement that you wanted me to say.
That was one of them. No, don't get me wrong, we've got a few different ones.
Right.
But they did drop a bombshell, which I did actually send to you the day before, and you were there going, nah, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
No, go on, tell them what it was first.
All of a sudden, they gave us a trailer, talk about Halo Infinite, and then just go, we're now releasing the multiplayer beta as of today.
Yes.
What? Say today? It was literally download it now and play the beta now. Everyone just lost their stuff.
Yeah. Well, you said a day or so before, and there's rumours they're gonna release the Halo multiplayer on Monday. And I'm like, no, they won't. It's only 2-3 weeks out till the game launches. I can't see why they'd launch that, especially the multiplayer. Why would they launch that early? Because that's the free part. People might not go out and pay for the actual campaign then.
Well, and then it got through a day, and you messaged me going, yeah, they've not released it. They've not released it. See, I told you so. And then we watched the stream, and I messaged Barry saying, they've just released it now. Stuff you, Barry. Suck it.
No, I think your actual message was like, oh my gosh, I've got to download it. It's just come on this second.
Yeah. I forgot it was on, so I clicked on to start watching it. As I clicked on to start watching it, I cannot tell you how perfect timing it was, because I clicked on, start watching it, went Xbox Infinite multiplayer beta now live. I was like, ah! Like, the second I did it, I was like, no way. So that meant put everyone into a craze. Everyone was like, I've got to download this thing. Steam crawled to a stop. People with downloads went down to kilobytes.
Oh, back to my good old dial-up days.
Yeah, it completely ground servers to a halt with the download. Steam struggling. You're like, what? Because I was reading a news article, and it said that a guy was downloading a game nothing to do with Halo, and it just killed his download. He said it just killed Steam's download servers. I was like, flipping heck. I'm not surprised. And we played it quite a few times since then.
Yeah, I've actually played an awful lot of it on on game streaming. Not the best experience, although it does work better on the Xbox than it does on my Mac.
Yes.
So it's playable sometimes.
So that was a really nice addition that came out.
Yeah, that was good. I've probably put in like a handful of hours at least.
Yeah.
And me, you, and Phil, we did have a little mess around as well on some custom games, getting used to the maps.
Yeah. I remember getting to a custom game, and Barry goes, "I'll put some bots on, don't worry." It was Barry and Phil against me. I was like, yeah, sure, okay, that's fine. Put some bots on, get into the game. As a look, it was me against Barry, Phil, and then
six bots.
6 bots. I was like, what? Like what? I said, you joking me? They're like, what? I said, look at the scoreboard. They went, oh. Just switched across into my team to confront the bots.
I still can't figure out why that happened. I put 8 bots per team on.
I was just so confused. I saw that. I was like, yeah, no, not
maybe
funny,
it's a glitch. It is a beta after all.
Yeah. But no, we did have quite a lot of fun. Especially because you put 6 grenades of every type onto them. So as they died, it was just like a party of just grenades to go poof at the bodies, and you hit one grenade and they all just exploded at once.
Instead of confetti like Grunt's birthday party, it's just grenades.
It's just a plethora of grenades going. It is. But no, it was a lot of fun, and we did really enjoy it.
Yeah. One of the things that I was actually surprised to see, possibly more surprised than seeing that they launch in the multiplayer early, even if it is technically a beta, was them bringing 70-odd new titles to backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
They have announced that this is like the final batch of them, but just this massive load of games coming into backwards compatibility.
Yeah, where has this come from? You know, they said before that they might not do any more, and we thought that was it. And then all of a sudden, they announced 76 new games.
Yeah.
So it's a good chunk of them. And we'll link into the show notes below, so you'll be able to have a look at the titles. But
yeah, I think for me, the standouts are the Dead or Alive. So you've got Dead or Alive Ultimate, Dead or Alive 3, and Dead or Alive 4.
Aren't the Fables in there as well? Am I wrong?
I think Fable was already on backwards compatibility.
Was it? I thought it was. No, I thought they just announced
a lot of games have got updates, though, I've noticed. I don't know what the
they
updates
did say that they were updating a lot of them.
Sonic Generations had an update.
They did say that.
So hopefully that might be maybe higher resolution or increased frame rate for them.
It is, and it was a massive surprise to everyone, I think. And I think a lot of people
just to
are quite
drop
excited.
these, but they have made this clear now. This is all a lot for backwards compatibility. Although
Just
not every game I wanted to see is on there. Still Italian. It's most of them. It's a
good chunk.
Yeah.
That's all that really came from the 20th anniversary. But one thing we noticed, just quickly flicking back to Halo Infinite, was the Battle Pass. battle pass system they've got in. Not a massive fan of it.
No, very grindy.
Yeah.
The fact that you can only obtain experience by playing how they want you to, and it's not in the best interest of your team to play how they want you to. I spent an entire game just trying to kill someone with a gun goose.
Yes, you did.
And it was I can't remember what the mode's called, where you've got to capture all 3 points at the same time. I wasn't capturing the points. I was just going for this one kill in the gun goose.
But yeah, no, that's the thing. I've got a challenge to destroy an enemy chopper and an enemy warthog. I've had that for the last few days.
Well, I've got one to kill someone in a wraith. I've never even seen a wraith in the game.
Yeah, it's difficult, but especially because a lot of the unlocks you want of the armor and everything else, you have to pay for.
I must admit, I've actually bought the premium.
Oh, have you now?
Yeah. I don't know if everyone's got it, but for Black Friday, they give me £4 credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it only cost me £3.19. Check your messages in case you got it.
Maybe.
So I just bought the Battle Pass.
I might have a look. But we've played quite a lot of it, and we've really enjoyed it. But the last little bit that I came across the other day, and I was quite surprised about, was about Elder Scrolls 6. This looks like to be an Xbox exclusive.
See, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but because so many of the ones were cross-platform, I know they do own Bethesda, and I know obviously they own it, but because so many of them have been multi-platform, they've just gone, no, we want to keep it, but we do need exclusives. We do need them coming to us, so I can see why they've done it, and I can understand completely Phil's reason and say, look, the gamers want exclusives. We need to have some.
Yeah, and why would they pay so many billions and not really reap the reward from them?
Exactly.
And in all fairness, there's only a handful of Elder Scroll games that have been cross-platform. There's been Oblivion, Skyrim. Was there anything in between those two?
Isn't there Elder Scrolls Online? Oh, between them.
Elder Scrolls Online, that'll continue being cross-platform.
Yeah.
Morrowind, as far as I'm aware, that was only on Xbox.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Again, another game. I remember seeing that and seeing the water effects and we're like, oh, it looks so realistic. It's their right just to get these exclusive games. And
it is.
They're going to be exclusive in that only going to be Xbox, but you're going to be able to play these games on PC, and if you wanted to, you could still get a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, play them on your mobile phone. If Phil Spencer had his way, you'd be able to play them on your PlayStation
and Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't need to buy an Xbox. You can just buy it and play it on your PC if you've got a decent PC for it.
Yes.
It most probably will come to Game Pass. Just spend $11.99 if you want to play it for a month.
100% will come to Game Pass day one. Every first-party title comes to Game Pass day one.
That's the thing. When's the last time you bought an Xbox game? Mainline Xbox game, not like because majority of the mainline ones will come straight to Game Pass.
First-party game, the last one I bought would have been either Halo Wars 2 or Halo 5, whichever one of those was newer.
There you go. It's especially with Game Pass now. There's no need to
go
out.
No, there isn't.
Unless you want to keep, a physical copy. There's no need to go out and buy one.
Yeah. I might buy Forza because they get delisted after a few years.
Yeah.
Just because of the music in them.
As you said, though, if there's a Halo Infinite Special Edition, I might try and get that out.
Oh, I'll buy Halo. I just physically buy the Halo games, just like I do with my Sonic games. I think where Microsoft are now is pushing the games industry forward quite a bit.
Yeah.
Until Microsoft started doing things like Game Pass, you got a few games in subscriptions, but now that's become the norm. Even Nintendo with Nintendo Online, even though some of them are hidden behind the Nintendo Online expansion pass. That was another podcast. I do think they are innovating. They're certainly not first place. I still think, even this generation, I think the third place. Although, in all fairness, the Switch had quite a few years head start on them. But I believe even the first year, I think Sony have still doubled what the Xbox Series consoles have sold.
But that's because a lot of people might because have been playing on PC.
Possibly.
Look at the way that they're going Game Pass.
That's the thing. Xbox is definitely becoming a platform rather than a system.
Yes.
Especially with Windows 11, where they're integrating
Integrating
it with the OS a lot more as well.
No, definitely. And if anything, that's what Phil's looking at. He's looking at make it as a platform for everyone to go into and use.
Yep.
He's unifying all. We've still got the high-end consoles, which are for the gamers that really want a console, which I think I will always end up having a console. Even if he turned it and it was all integrated to a PC and had a decent PC, the fact that I've got a separate console, I will always have. I will never change that at all. But that could be more the hardcore gamers. They make a lot of their money out of Game Pass, and I can't blame them for it.
Again, Game Pass, apart from being fantastic value, there's games on there that, in all fairness, I would never pay for.
No.
Not because they're bad, just because they're not my kind of game. I wouldn't be willing to pay, even for some of the cheaper indie titles, £15, £25, because I don't know whether I'd like them. I would never have bought Riftbreaker. Yeah, I 100%ed that game.
But not only that, you get perks for the different games as well with Game Pass. They releasing RuneScape, gave you perks for RuneScape. I'm like, I would never imagine that.
I literally look for the Phantasy Star Online once, and
I grab that every month.
But again, bringing Phantasy Star Online, Microsoft did what Sega couldn't.
Yes.
They brought it to the West. It was like 6 or 7 years late, but
still did it.
I still got it here. Actually, one thing we haven't touched on that I think Microsoft should be commended on as well was their accessibility controller that they released. I remember seeing a father who'd actually got one of these controllers and customized it for his daughter so that she could play Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Okay.
So that obviously meant the world to her, meant the world to him as well. And Microsoft could have easily said, "Oh no, you can't use this on anything except Xbox and maybe PC." But the fact that
they would have helped him if they'd have noticed.
Well, yeah, the fact that they made this controller. If I can find the video about it, I'll leave it in the show notes. But again, they're doing it for gaming as a whole, not for Xbox itself.
No, the accessibility controller was a massive step forward because people who are disabled easily will have to play games as well. They're just not able to because the controller setup. So being able to bring the accessibility up and the ease of use to them, again, is a massive step forwards, and there's a way to support and help players around the globe across all systems and all consoles, a way to unify games. I don't like this fight between PlayStation's better than Xbox and all this malarkey.
That's always been a thing, though. Before Xbox and PlayStation, it was Sega and Nintendo, Commodore and Atari. It's something that's always going to be there, and it's something that's always been in gaming, unfortunately. I do think, especially the last 20 years with the rise of the internet, though, it has become a lot more... I don't want to use the word toxic, but toxic.
Yeah. I hear that word too much.
Just before we go, do you think someone will be talking about Xbox in another 20 years? Do you think it'll still be relevant then?
I think, as you said, a platform, yes.
Yeah.
As a console, that's up for debate.
Well, every single generation it's up to debate. Is this the last generation of consoles?
If Phil Spencer's got something to say about it, I reckon the consoles will be around for a long time.
Right. I think, as you say, it'll still be around. Maybe not as a physical system, but maybe just a platform for games.
It'll be a smaller RDS box which just connects to the cloud.
Well, actually, I was just about to ask you, what do you think the immediate future holds for the Xbox? And I was going to say, I personally believe they're going to bring out like an Xbox Zero or something. Just this small streaming device that you plug
like a
into
Chromecast sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if over the next year or two, if they brought something out like that.
I'm sure I read somewhere about something about a TV app. Or was it just me that making it up? I'm sure I
was
saw
it on like LG
about.
or Sony TV? Samsung TVs.
I feel like it was, yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of vaguely remember something about that now. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought out like a little £50 box that included an Xbox controller. Well, maybe not 50 quid because the controllers alone are worth that. That you just whack into HDMI on your TV and get access to Xbox streaming.
That's it. Cloud. And it's working. It works a treat now.
Yeah.
It's just latency, but that's down to
Yeah,
your
well,
internet.
the thing
But-
is, I'm playing over Wi-Fi,
yeah.
so I think a lot of the issues I have may be in-home rather than with the network itself.
Yeah.
I've been playing a couple of games on Halo. I played over 70 hours on Riftbreaker and completely forgot I was playing on cloud. We were playing, what was it we were playing last night?
Oh,
Grounded.
yes.
Yeah, because it weren't installed. I just jumped straight in on the actual Xbox, straight into it on the cloud. We played it for
It wasn't
maybe
until about
half an
halfway
hour.
through playing you went, hang a minute, I'm streaming this.
No, it was only when I closed it.
All right.
It was when I closed it. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it weren't installed. I think the future's promising for Xbox, and I do think the next 5 years, I do think they'll push the industry further forward.
Well,
as much as I personally don't like the thought, I do think Sony are going to be the ones that are the leaders in terms of how many systems are sold and that, but I do think Microsoft have definitely become the leaders in pushing the industry. Yeah, forcing it to evolve.
Well, that's the thing. It's Microsoft. It's innovation. It's what they do. But I think so too. But here's to the next 20 years.
Yep. Thanks for listening. This podcast went on a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah.
So what? An hour and 20 minutes for events today, at least. And we were like, oh, you would just jump on and do a quick 35-minute one. There's so much that we haven't talked about.
We're not Xbox fanboys at all, by the way. Just side thing.
In all fairness, we are Xbox fans.
Yes, we are.
Although we also play PC, Switch as well.
Yeah.
And not that we're against PlayStation, just
not our thing.
Yeah. Just can't get over those symmetrical analog sticks on it. You need claws to play them, or at least I do. Well, that is it for this episode. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could just take 2 minutes out of your day and leave us a review on your favourite podcasting app. It really helps us and helps us to decide where we're going to take the podcast in the future.
That's it from us, the Retro Gaming Dads, and we'll see you next time. That's it for Retro Gaming Cat. Me.
I am the great mighty Pooh.
Alright, Mighty Pooh, shush.